Stand clear of the closing doors! In this video, I'm excited to share my experience and thoughts on Washington, D.C. public transportation, how to use it, and why it sucks. Before we begin our ride, let me introduce myself. I'm Transit Nomad, a world traveler, business owner, music composer, filmmaker, and life coach on a mission to explore cities through the lens of public transportation. Please consider paying your fare by liking and subscribing or buying me a coffee using the link below. All aboard, let's go! Our first category is going to be ticket purchase options and pricing. As you can see on the screen, fares vary based on the service, ride length, day, and time you ride. A single ride Metro Rail fare varies between $2.25 and $6.75. So, if you'd like to take the Metro Rail, also known as Metro or Subway, and you want to know how much it's going to cost, good luck trying to figure that out. They do have a trip planning tool that allows you to do the math if you know your exact departure and destination station. But this is an additional step that many people don't want to deal with, and the fee might also vary based on the time you take the metro. So this clearly makes the option of taking the metro or subway less attractive. If you don't want to deal with all that, you could buy a one-day unlimited pass for $13.50 per person, or a 3-day unlimited pass for $33.75 per person. But these prices are among the highest in the whole world, adding up quickly if you have multiple people in your family or travel group, making Washington, D.C. Metro Rail less accessible and not very attractive compared to driving or using rideshare services. There's also a more affordable option of skipping the Metro Rail completely and using just buses. For the same price as buying a one-day unlimited Metro Rail pass, you can buy a 7-day unlimited bus pass, costing just $13.50 for the entire week. This is by far the most affordable option of getting around in Washington, D.C. And this is exactly what I did during my last visit a couple of months ago. I thought to myself, I'm fine with taking just buses. This way, I'll be able to enjoy the city views while saving lots of cash, and I'm probably not going to go too far anyway, so why not? Well, the problem is that I didn't realize how bad the bus system is, but we'll get to that in a minute. Having said all of the above, Washington, D.C. ticket purchase options and pricing get a score of 2 out of 10. Almost every other big city in the world offers cheaper prices with better service. Our next chapter is frequencies, schedules, and operating hours. Washington, D.C. Metro Rail trains run between approximately 5 a.m. and midnight on weekdays and approximately 7 a.m. and 1 a.m. on weekends, which is about average if compared to similar systems in the United States. Depending on which line you take, the frequency between trains is usually 6 to 12 minutes. It could be better, but it's still acceptable. Operating hours are also pretty good on mini bus routes, with buses running from early mornings until late evenings, and some routes offering a 24-hour service, which is really awesome. The problem is with large frequencies and the fact that buses do not follow schedules. During my last visit, I had to rely mainly on buses for just several days, and it was a disaster. The bus schedule information posted on WAMTA website was completely useless. It was also really difficult and sometimes impossible to use Google Maps, Transit, or other bus tracking apps, as buses arrived and departed randomly without following any kind of schedule whatsoever. Having said the above, considering the good operating hours on both Metro Rail and bus network, but absolutely terrible frequencies on the bus network and buses not running on schedule, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Our next category is going to be route coverage, transfers, signage, and convenience. While the Metro network is pretty extensive, it doesn't go everywhere, which means you likely have to transfer between subway trains and buses. The bus network has decent coverage, but the routes are planned in a way that often requires transfers. I've had to transfer almost every time I went somewhere. It would have been fine if I didn't have to wait for buses for so long. But in this case, it was really inconvenient, and sadly, I even had to give up on some destinations after realizing how long bus commuting takes in Washington, D.C. The worst news about system coverage is the DC circulator network shutting down, which means that several popular bus lines are being shut down completely after servicing residents and tourists for 20 years. They mention lack of funding as the main reason for this incredibly sad change. With fare collecting machines not working inside many buses and bus drivers allowing people to get in for free, no wonder there is no funding. So, while many other cities keep trying to improve their bus networks, Washington, D.C. seems to be moving in the opposite direction. And because of that, I can't give route coverage, transfers, signage, and convenience a score that's any higher than 3 out of 10. Moving on to the rolling stock, Washington, D.C. Metro currently uses several different train types, with the oldest being 1987 Type 3000 series train produced by an Italian manufacturer that no longer exists called Breda. I was lucky to catch one of these and I loved it. It was really comfortable with lots of seats and not too many doors. There are also newer Alstom trains produced in 2006 and Kawasaki trains that entered service in 2015. As of May 2024, Metro owns a fleet of 1,216 cars, most of which are in active revenue service. I didn't get to ride Metro Rail much due to high prices, but the trains seemed clean and well kept. Please feel free to correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. I did get to ride buses all the time though, and I can say with confidence that they are the dirtiest buses I've ever seen anywhere in the United States. Almost every bus had some sort of trash left inside and a company of some interesting individuals, either talking loudly, yelling nonsense, smelling bad, or watching content on their smartphones without headphones. As you can imagine, riding buses did not feel neither comfortable nor safe. I'd give rolling stock, cleanliness, comfort, and safety 1 out of 10. But DC Metro seems to be doing much better in this category, so I'm giving it an overall score of 4. Next, let's discuss reliability, accountability, and customer service. One of my favorite spots to be on the bus is standing in the front, close to the driver, and watching the view. This allows me to see not just the scenery, but also the driver's behavior and decision making. Most drivers in Washington, D.C. were friendly and happy and seemed to enjoy their work, which is great. But one driver did not stop at a designated stop even though there were people waiting and waving. You'd think that stop was for another route, but no, there was a sign with the same bus line number and estimated arrival time. And I was on that bus, standing next to the driver who was simply lazy to slow down and change from the left lane to the right lane. There was plenty of space on that bus, it was late at night, there was no traffic, and we were ahead of schedule. If you know why the driver decided not to stop in that situation, please let us know in the comment section below. As for Metro Rail, the trains seemed to run on schedule, and the system appeared to be much more reliable than the bus network. I did have a couple of conversations with customer service personnel, and they were friendly and tried to be helpful. Overall, I'm going to give reliability, accountability, and customer service a score of 5 out of 10. Our next chapter is traffic speed, infrastructure, and city mobility. And we'll start with Metro Rail. The average speed of trains is 33 miles per hour, which is double of New York City subway and just a little below San Francisco's BART system, which seems much more similar to Washington, D.C. Metro Rail network for comparison purposes. Unlike New York City subway, with most stops being way too close to one another, Washington, D.C. Metro Rail stops are located much further apart, making the system much faster and encouraging people to walk a little bit, which I consider a good thing that makes us healthier. The trains travel relatively fast and I can't complain too much. Washington DC bus network, on the other hand, could definitely use some improvements. With so many traffic lights and not enough priority for public transportation, traveling on buses felt pretty slow. As we can see from these screenshots, the bus stops are often located only 0.2 miles apart, which is too close as it takes only 3 to 4 minutes to walk from one bus stop to the next. This means that if you are exactly in the middle between two bus stops, the longest distance that you'd ever have to walk is just 0.1 miles, or no more than 2 minutes. If buses have to stop so often, this significantly slows down the average speed of bus travel. Many US cities are suffering from this problem, with the average bus speed being under 10 miles per hour. Doubling or tripling the distance between stops and removing at least half of them could be a major improvement. So at this moment, traffic speed, infrastructure, and city mobility, combining buses and metro rail, will be getting a score of 6 out of 10. As an example of a city that is almost perfect, I'd like to bring up Vienna, the capital of Austria. It's been rated as the most livable city on the planet for several years in almost every category. I've had the privilege of visiting it personally, and I plan on reviewing it on this channel in the near future, along with many other cities. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. And leave a comment below letting me know how you would rate Washington DC. Perhaps there is something I missed, or maybe your experience was better.